poileataics na seachgatan an nalapa the ghairach le miscacha beal the náisiúntach gus féin rialú. Spe alla connug na dispatchin. Char a Winnie o'r sa biro at e falafo aded lwy, ais chabata gus roi sas an yn ymwrs Dalyell. Bas dŵn y dwrisio oedd moda fys yn naran, y rhain e crwnyd yn y halapa hen, gorth yn caimbal. Sgida y fatori co cŵl. Gag taag y iarain no diag, dh'fhiach y ceirdiag, yn dwych le parlament gan fórchwyd, a chosyn Winnie bwy yn ymalela.
I think we've taken a big step forward on the road to independence. Thank you very much.
Chai sianar náisiúnta chéile a thug a bharach gyd Winnie an san taug sin. Son a chiad dúad, van nearst an a daríide bhachga an sa parlament. San dávar aus san darna tug a bbliana sin, va mór chud dh'fhiach na labarich. A chai adamh skipan an náisiúnta gemeid o hech go hundiag.
When I went back to the House of Commons, of course, it was entirely different. I had 6 very clever people with me. And then I had 10 very clever 6 months later. And really, no one would take us on because people like Douglas Henderson and Gordon Wilson and Roddy and Donald Stewart, they could all wipe the floor with most people. They were so witty. And of course, we held the balance of power. So we were treated with kid gloves by the whips. We're terrified we'd all bring the government down. Because Donny used to open every meeting we'd have every Tuesday and say, well, shall we bring the government down this week or not?
Me yedig hawl va corm ex slog alapa botigers on féin rialig an the referendum háspaideach no diag dh'fhiach no diag. Ach Gaelic orra a vor chud de gaichid sa chiad de chairi le Westminster a cholane.
Then I do not believe that the 40% requirement is unfair.
A disgrace. Because by the rule that they applied to Scotland, no party would have been in power in London ever. They wouldn't have fulfilled the 40% rule. It wouldn't have happened. So it was a nonsense to apply an unfair rule that didn't apply in ordinary politics to the one issue of Scotland. But it was a dirty trick of dirty tricks, and it worked.
Was it a trick? No, it wasn't. Was it seen as a trick? Yes, it was. Do I regret it? Yes, I do. On the grounds that I think that the no vote would have been much better if it hadn't happened and hadn't been seen as a trick.
In misnach gechaul, chud bwyl Parliament náisiúnta Ghaisile an taich ctívod cin erapsa an sa rialtas labarach. An sa dog Parliament len were notorian kit rialí. Idan caun va che hisse could jirasach an noi féin rialí, Myra Thatcher. Hail Winnie an the mother vis in your naran, Eis had the glen an náisiúntach ach da rain.
And there goes that slim majority.
It was a terrible blow. And then we lost seats, we lost members, and it was just like a funeral. It was terrible what happened. And it was, well, many people thought it was the end, but it wasn't, of course. We just fought another day.
Y ganyan cawl, yaraf Winnie a ddirst, gyda corm yn awn galeidse a farach gyda Westminster. Schwdi a hwy a rwniorpa.
The remarkable thing about Winnie Ewing is not the success in Hamilton, remarkable though that is. The most remarkable thing about Winnie Ewing is this woman is irresistible, irrepressible. Every time she gets knocked down, she bounces back up again. So she gets knocked out in 1970 and then re-emerges in February 1974 by unseating the Secretary of State for Scotland. She moves from industrial Lanarkshire seat to the seat in Murray and Nairn in the northeast of Scotland in the fishing community and knocks out the sitting Secretary of State for Scotland. After a few years of disappointment in 79, she gets narrowly toughed out the northeast of Scotland. Within weeks, she emerges as the member of the European Parliament for the Highlands and Islands.
Uno dele vai an sanati gerst, ek een naam gerst. Cha berw dŵr van na politics na Eorpa de Winnie. An an diag dh'fhiach sa diag, fod y riach gynnichtio son fwydach an sa chairs nach Eorpach. Aus chogún Harold Wilson, can be balrach sa Parliament sin ag bhean-uasal. Mar ruchgad in an asintach cúsin Eorpach, chai Winnie a
Ik heb nu aan de Westminster van Parliament gemaakt. De Parliament ha koach gehared ik party met een SNP. Is nooit van show van gaan ik whippike Phartaidh labrig of die dus in SNP's net chocolads we kunnen. White chocolads we gaan doen naar prima. Kom zo je vier ver wonen iemand. Waar van je steven in SNP tot in nooit het begat college realtors. Waar fameke realtors in de woord genachke. Zo staan stuurt toen is je wel skakel green. Is soort wel had de task Parliament Njána a chodig is an Eorpa, sé an gúta sin Winnie chuide sin tal bhar súlacha de Russell Machéin eile níos chuil ach goúchaine sin cirisna chu ná scuide sin duneachasú me sé bhar son. Mar sin cha sinna héanú agus bha party mórs curamóra láid me bhí lás bha chula duine nach go gachens bha champagne dul nasci agus bha ag an am sin bha áháhas a chaimna tu sin dul an Westminster. Go dú haringar thucar Winnie chuna phléin agus alabhí an Eorpas ra gá Guma Jane agus ma hech good in an unchet va cynniw ag yn SNPs chwaith Donald Stewart iddyn nhw ddyd agus wrth dyn y cwmbyn i chi fa Conladish when he halts yn Eorpa hold wrth dyn any minute now war will be breaking out on the European continent.
Well, Europe was such an issue for a while. Party wasn't always behind my stance, which was to be pro-Europe, because I mean they were definitely against the Scottish fishing, which meant that everyone thought I should be against Europe for everything. But I was very keen on the European ideal.
Rhain de bhuanachadh, a ruchgach ysgyd yn y Gaeltachs na Dalyell, yn rhain tau y befwas yn rhain Eorpa. Fad yn ruchgach sy'n ceidplan y ffychyd.
Ac yn awn sy'n sé Westminster yn ylnad fa cwntas. So sy'n amisbynach y gwydwg sy'n... Chagwyd gen hiwn ag adam, gwydwg sy'n sios dy hwrs i hi. Edda lai vela a kutjoch fi nach ra an the Parliament Strasbourg die was nach Salmond ju. Sjós a suich a fara fémúra ha misje in túse na misje in tú vela agus havarín sin í chéra velu as a realtas na velu as an opposition. Hanne sin án han cáni baroch cára a dolf baroch chingo únta baroch ní misje seo har a físag vela kutrama gaise le mi leif agus bí misje fiach ní rutain ha kutrama gase. Baroch in charse It
meant she was the first independent from, we might call her that, from the United Kingdom. And I mean, she certainly did a very good job of work there and made it easier for others coming after him. Well, it certainly made it easier for me because I was in the same, I had the same difficulties when I started in Europe as she had when she started, but she had hammered out a trail for herself, and everybody benefited from that.
It was really an exciting place to be, and being a party of one wasn't so unusual in Europe. There were quite a lot of parties of one, you know, for bits and pieces of Europe, for one reason or another.
Ac yn geraf awm sy'n fa Winnie a cael a hat an y Parliament fdeichtyn, fa Parliament na Eorpa cwyd ars dy chiad tau yn gydach achga. An y diag dh'fhiach yn diag, hes Winnie yn oed Russell Machéin. Ba dwleg y chwlydynnu gan bhuanachadh Russell. A chorolgeldachs na helen yn athein fata chyn fawfwy yn steile immer sonrichtje y vec Winnie.
The week before the election, there was the Camanachd Cup final. And Russell Johnson was the president of the Camanachd Association and lifelong involvement with Shinty. So not unreasonably, Russell was being presented to the teams before the game. And of course Winnie was furious that Russell was being given this exposure and she was sitting in the stand. So she ran onto the pitch while this ceremony was going on and started kissing the players. And of course, I mean, everybody, every sort of wise old head in the Highlands or Allan says, well, she's really done for herself now, you know, so people will be appalled. And of course, the following week, she quadrupled her majority.